Troy from Ace Appliance in Toledo, Ohio. Welcome back to another in-home diagnostic video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com. For the repair today, what you're going to need is a meter, a tack puller or a flathead screwdriver, possibly a Phillips screwdriver, and either a 1/4 inch nut driver or a 1/4 inch attachment for your drill. Okay, well today what we're looking at is a Kenmore 80 series electric dryer. Customer's complaint or situation is that it is not heating. The unit does come on, it does run, everything is functioning, it just is not producing any heat. So with that being said, since it's coming on and it's running, it eliminates a few parts for me. Eliminates the thermostat, and it also eliminates the fuse on this particular model. So what we need to do is we need to take the back panel off, which the customer's already started to remove the screws that holds the back panel on. So once the screws are out, you can remove the panel. When you're removing the panel, just be careful of the edges because they are sharp and you can cut your fingers pretty quickly and pretty easily. What we're going to do now, since we know that the unit comes on but is not heating, we're going to basically inspect this side of the unit. We're going to check the heating element. We're going to check the high limit cutoff as well to see which one is not working. So what we're going to start with is we're going to get our meter out. We're going to set it to check for continuity. When we're checking for continuity, we're going to remove one of these wires because you basically need to have the wires removed so that you're not completing the circuit back through the system. It'll give you a false reading if you do not remove the wires. So first thing I'm going to do is remove the one wire at the top. This unit has only 2 wires on it because of the type of high limit thermostat it has on it. So what I'm going to do is just remove one wire. If you have one that has 4 wires, you may have one that has 2 wires going to the thermostat, and you may have 2 wires going to the heating element. Since I only have 2, I just had to remove the one because it's going to isolate both those parts. Okay, so now once I remove the wire, you're either going to remove the one wire so you have one left, or you're going to remove one of the wires from the heating element, whichever setup you have. So since I removed this wire, what I'm now going to do is remove this thermostat. I use a tack puller. You can use a flathead screwdriver, but one side of it is connected to one of the heating terminals. So I'm just going to use it to pry that piece up. Once I pry it up, I can take this piece off and out of the way. Now what I'm going to do is use my meter. As I said, set it so you're checking for continuity. And I have mine set audible, so you can hear it. What I'm going to do is put one lead on each side of the heater terminal. And I have no continuity. It's completely open. What I'm going to also check for is make sure it's not shorted out. It's fine. I'm going to then check my thermostat as well, make sure that is good. And that is good. With that being said, what we're going to have to do is replace the heating element. Okay, so the new element is basically the heater box. And here's where the thermostat mounts back on. Here's your terminals for the element. You take your thermostat, it has a little tab right here that goes into one of these holes. You loop it, and then it goes on the terminal, and you push it all the way down so it's on there securely. Once you have that back in place, to remove the heater box, you're going to have a 1/4 inch screw on each side. So you remove those. Once you remove those screws, basically going to grab the bottom gently because it is sharp, pull it out a little bit, and then down, and it slides right out. Disconnect your other terminal. Once you've got it removed, I inspected just to see if I could see a break. I don't see one on the top rung on this one, so it must be on the back side. I'm not going to pop it apart. Just to show on this one, the new one, if I was to check for continuity again, set my meter, and I have continuity. Okay, so now to reinstall the element, it has a couple little dimples at the top. These dimples fit inside where this is right here. So again, I'm going to take it, tuck it up and under. I tucked under, push it back together, and inch it back up. Again, be careful so you don't cut yourself. You may want to wear some gloves. Once it's back in place, it'll hold itself. Going to reconnect your 2 screws. Screws reconnected. Reconnect your wires, one back to one terminal on the heating element. The other one goes back to the thermostat. Once it's reconnected, you can then reassemble the back panel. Okay, so you're going to take the back panel again, and you're going to reposition it. Make sure that your vent tube is sticking out the hole in the back of the panel. Set it back in place. You'll notice when you do that, your holes do not match up where they go necessarily. If they do, great. If they don't, you just have to position it so they do. So what we're going to do is just reconnect the screws. I particularly put the first couple in loose so it holds it in place for me. That's so I can make sure I can get all the holes lined up more easily. Once you've got a couple where you know the holes are lined up, you can then tighten all of them down. Once you have the back cover on, you want to make sure you do put your plate cover on that goes over your electrical connections. You have 240 volts going through there. If this cover's not on there, by chance somebody or something touches that, you could get seriously hurt. It goes on basically one way. It has a tab that sticks inside the hole, and then the screw hole mounts up or matches up on the opposite side. Once that's reconnected, you're going to turn the unit back around, get it back in position, reconnect your vent hose, plug it in. From there, turn it on. Make sure you have heat inside, and before you run the unit with clothes in it and move along that way, you're going to want to go back outside, check your vent to make sure you have good airflow outside of the house. Okay, once you have it back in position, you just want to turn it on. Once it's back on, just give it a minute so you can make sure you have heat inside. You know, open the door, feel inside, or you can wait to be able to feel the heat in your vent tube. It takes longer to feel it there, of course, but it's on now. We should be getting heat, and we have heat. So before I leave today, what I'll do is I'll go outside on my way back out to my truck and make sure that I have good flow outside of the house. If not, you just want to make sure that your tube going out is clear and make sure your bird guard on the outside is clear of lint and debris. Thank you for watching another quality video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com.